In 1970, American audiences were treated for the first time to the manic visions of a 27-year-old Italian film director whose unflinching voyeurism evoked comparisons to Alfred Hitchcock. Flashing knives, throttling hands, crazed murderers on psychotic killing sprees, tortured heroes and heroines who either must catch the killer themselves or risk becoming the next victim, driving, pulsating rock music scores, garish color schemes, and funny animal titles, like Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Audiences had never seen such fever dreams on the screen before. But there were even more manic visions and even stranger titles to come from this fearmaker over the next quarter century. His name? Dario Argento.
Dario Argento is, I think, the most stylish director working in films today.
He introduced gore effects, very well done gore effects, to very well done movies.
Of all the directors who have worked in horror, Dario Argento is the most stylish and maybe the greatest.
Argento is also one of the first people who used a sound in the modern horror film very effectively in music. It's almost scary listening to a Dario Argento film.
Born in 1943, Dario Argento, the son of Italian film producer Salvatore Argento, began his career as a film critic. He soon became assistant to Mario Bava, the Italian shockmaster best known for such horror classics as Black Sunday. By the late 60s, Argento was sharing screenwriting credits with Italian cinema greats Bernardo Bertolucci and Sergio Leone as co-writer of the ultimate spaghetti western, Once Upon a Time in the West.
I write with Bernardo Bertolucci the subject and then the treatment of the picture, the pre-screenplay. Sergio Leone for me was incredible proud with him, was a master for me, like a me nothing, just a film lover, and then to work with this man was great.
Argento's directorial debut, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, was the first in his string of Giallo shockers. Giallo, or yellow, being the color of fear in Italian literature and cinema.
I write the screenplay because at the time I was a writer. My father was a producer, associate in the company. I say to my father, "What to read this?" He read this. He says, "It's good. You want to do direct?" Yes, because I'm critic. I have my theory of the movie, my movie theory. Maybe it was wrong, but maybe it's right. Because I see so many pictures. I have my idea for a picture, my idea for a style.
I'd say what characterizes Dario Argento's Giallo films over those of other filmmakers and imitators of him are just a real unique visual style that he brought to his films, and also a colorful visuals and pretty ingenious and clever plot twists that were found in his films, which some of the other filmmakers of that period might not have had a handle on.
The success of Bird with the Crystal Plumage inspired Argento to continue making films in the same genre. But he was not alone. Other Italian directors, inspired by his success, jumped on the bandwagon.
His films had more of a one foot in reality, where the others perhaps didn't.
I saw one of his movies recently when I was in Italy and ended up having nightmares, you know. because there's something about it, his movies, that you feel that you're almost like in a nightmare when you watch them.
Realizing that there was gold in them thar Giallos, Argento launched his second outing, The Cat o' Nine Tails.
The masters of tension who gave you The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. The picture that out-psychoed Psycho have now made a film 9 times more suspenseful. Cat o' Nine Tails.
The film opens with a bungled break-in at a genetics lab and quickly escalates into homicidal madness.
The Cat o' Nine Tails was a film I tried a Giallo, but in little different, more interested maybe in something like violence. And some people like very much. I don't like a lot this film. I don't know why. Because people, directors love a picture, and for reason apparently strange, personal. For this reason, I don't like so much.
Four Flies on Grey Velvet followed a year later. Featuring a throbbing music score by legendary composer Ennio Morricone, the film is based on the premise that a killer's image is imprinted on the retinas of his victims. Quite bloody and gruesome in its original form, Four Flies on Grey Velvet was heavily trimmed by Paramount for United States release, a problem that has plagued the director throughout his career.
At a recent film festival in America, they showed some Dario Argento films, and he was there, and they were showing cut prints, and he was furious, and he actually ranted in front of everybody and tore his shirt off. He was so upset because they cut his movies. More directors should have that kind of dedication and passion.
My life was a continuous battle with the censor in every country, in many countries. Not every, because you have some island of freedom very incredible, especially in some country of Europe like Denmark, and Holland, or Spain, Portugal.
The studios, especially in America, have always treated his movies very badly.
He frequently cries at screenings of his films because he sees all his favorite sequences cut out.
Serious critics have always hated his movies. The only people that have backed Dario Argento's movies were the fans and the horror magazines.
Argento dabbled in the supernatural with his next film by combining psychics with psychos. The film was called Deep Red. In its original uncut version, Deep Red easily lives up to its title.
You're getting closer and closer to the most unnatural kind of death. Beyond shock. What was that? Beyond horror into total terror. Murder runs wild. Blood runs cold.
Deep Red arrived as the era of increasingly more explicit horror on the screen had begun to explode.
His music is so striking and so intense that it reaches unbelievable levels. I mean, as suspense is developed, as the victims near their death, in many cases, his music his use of Goblin, I believe, or Ennio Morricone, is just phenomenal.
Both the supernatural and the music of Goblin would become staples of Argento's films in the years to come. Dario Argento plunged headlong into the world of the supernatural for his next two films, beginning with Suspiria, the first installment in a projected trilogy about witches at work in the modern world. An avowed admirer of the works of Edgar Allan Poe and Roger Corman's ornate shockers based on Poe, Suspiria shows the influence of both sources in its ghastly red, blue, black color schemes and its pyrotechnical holocaust of an ending.
I like Corman, every picture of Corman. I like the side of Corman tragic and the side also ironic. And I remember Fire, acting so overact. I like these things. I love face, female face, beautiful, dark, and passions, and big noises. I don't know, something so incredible.
You can hide from Suspiria. But you cannot escape Suspiria. The only thing more terrifying than the last 12 minutes of Suspiria are the first 92.
Every distributor tries to discover the original copy to distribute again in cassette. My picture with the name uncut version, but why is now uncut version now? We have a time to distribute this picture, no, uncut from the beginning.
The film treated audiences to one overwhelming shock after another, culminating in a frequently imitated but never equaled scene involving a rainstorm of maggots.
I remember when we shoot him, when we go to very close to the maggots, with light also, we have many of these maggots, because we have many of the maggots that transform in flies and becomes flies, and was fly in front of the camera. Because it becomes a little dark and dark and dark, and then open, the worms open, and the fly go up. It was very, very interesting.
Deep Red and Suspiria both had loud, pulsing soundtracks by Goblin, an Italian rock group, and they were literally the loudest movies I had ever seen at that time.
I was terrifically influenced by Suspiria, but then I have had the chance to see some of his other films. They're extraordinarily disturbing.
His movies are beautiful, and I think there's something wonderful about that. You know, I think that comes in a way from the fact that he's Italian. You know, the only other director I know of whose movies were as beautiful as his was Mario Bava, and there's an elegance about his films.
He's out to scare us. He's out to scare us through a brilliant use of color, with use of a very mobile, restless camera, a fascination with blades and other devices of death. You know, he wants to put you in the victim's seat by his use of close-ups of the victims and their eyes. His victims know they're going to die before death overtakes them.
He likes to paint the screen red. Red is his favorite color. And some critics and censors don't like the color red, and that's, you know, one of the reasons why his films get a little tamer when they come to America and other countries.
Argento took time out from his